Hello YouTube, Luigi here. What are we going to unbox today? 511 Scout folder. Boy, earlier this week we had unboxed the 511 Tactical CS2. Two 511 Tacticals in 1 week. If you consider last week I had never heard of these guys. Let's get right into it. This is called the Scout folder. You see I've been in here before. Comes wrapped in a little baggie, and it comes with a tool and extra screws. Boy, do I love that. You get a lot of mileage for including extra screws. Okay. 511 Tactical Scout folder. There are some style numbers back here. 51027, 999. I don't think that's the model number. I really don't, and yet it might be, because there's another number on the blade, which I'll show you. Let's talk about the outside first. We have 4.75-inch closed length, flush pivots, flush standoff screws, quad position clip, you see the holes, open pillar construction, nicely chamfered all the way around on that G10, so we know it's going to be smooth and comfortable. And the pocket clip, both the pocket clip and the blade have a black oxide coating. Okay, now I want you to look at the relative position of the pocket clip holes. Even though it's a quad carry, and they get all kinds of points for that, when it's tipped down, usually the less favored position, it's a deep carry. You can tell by the screw position over here, when it's tip up, there's a lot of stuff sticking up. So it may well be that even people who prefer a tip-up carry might leave this one alone because of the more concealed carry. Let's open it up. It's got this Spidey type hole opened right up. You saw that. There's that 3.6-inch spear point black oxide coated blade. And I'm not sure, I'm sorry people, whether it's a flat ground or a hollow ground. It's got the real pronounced finger groove. One can argue it has a forward choil. I wouldn't get too close to that. I would rather stick back here. Okay, it's a spear point blade. You know, I'm going to tend to say hollow, but boy, it feels flat. So, you know how I always screw up on this. We have a 5-ounce knife here. It has a lanyard hole that is by anybody's standard small. Okay. Jimping on a raised ramp. And you know, these coatings, oh, that's pretty sharp. That's pretty good. I was going to say, sometimes these coatings tend to smoothen out the bite on the jimping, but this is, oh boy, this is really a nice jimping. Not too sharp, but really really cuts into you there. Okay. It's got good fit and finish. I have to say that. Well, one might argue when all you have are two scales with no liners, what's their adjacent material to flush up against? Well, that's a good point. That point's well taken, but it still seems finely crafted. That liner is an inset liner. So there are no full side stainless steel liners. Some argue that the liner looks thin. And there might be some merit to that argument. It looks about a full 50%. You know, it disengages well without any stick. The knife is new, so it's somewhat stiff. With a little bit of flick, I can get it out there. There was no flick in that. So why did I buy this? Why did I buy this knife? Well, I'll tell you why, and maybe you can see this. This is my Griptilian, which I love. This is a CRKT Shenanigan by Ken Onion. Now, what do they have in common? They have this pistol-type grip, bulbous end handle. When I saw, even before I bought this, when I saw this handle shape, I knew immediately this was going to feel good in my hand because I already liked this, knew this handle shape was going to feel great. And for similar reasons, I knew this was going to feel great. And this is even more exaggerated, the 511 Tactical, in terms of that bulbous end. You know, it's not, it doesn't become a deliberate pommel, it just slowly swells out and gives you that extra thickness on the end. So the handle shape wasn't for me. Now, what use category does such a knife fall into? Well, at 3.6 inches, it's, you know, let's be honest, it's on the upper limit of an EDC knife. This is heavy. It's got very thick blade stock. I don't have a millimeter thickness spec for you on this blade, but in fact, it's blade heavy. It's really blade heavy in the open position. There's so much blade out there. So at let's go back to the use category. At 3.6 inches, I think this is the upper limit of a daily carry. It's a big knife, it's a heavy knife, and yes, it'll open a UPS package, but do you need to carry this much knife to do that if your daily carry tasks are light duty? So what else is it? It's got to be, with a reach like that, with a handle like that, it's got to be self-defensive tactical, okay? It just has to be. It's got good reach, it's got great grip, it's got fast deployment. So that's the two categories I would put this in, okay? And we always say self-defensive tactical. God forbid you should find yourself in a situation where you need such a device. This was designed by Mike Vellekamp. Mike Vellekamp for 511 Tactical. It is manufactured in Taiwan, hence the AUS-8 steel. Almost everything manufactured in Taiwan uses Japanese steels. The Taiwanese just won't buy Chinese steel, and that's just the politics of the area, and I don't have a dog in that fight. They can use anybody's steel they want. You see the very clear open pillar construction. And I wanted to call your attention to the flush appearance of both the pivot and the body screws. They are not buttons, you know, they're just dead flat flush, as if they are counter-flared into that G10. So it gives this the appearance of a very flat, very planar look, okay? And I might just leave this in the tip-down position for the very reasons I had talked about. Even though I'm always the one who says I like a little bit of knife sticking up, I think in this case it's almost too much, especially because it's the wide, bulbous end of a handle. All right, I've given you the specs in the King's Foot, but let's deal with my metric friends for a minute. Oh boy, there's that 3 point, I'm reading in English, inches again. There's a 9 centimeter blade, very clear, and a 10, 11, 12, 13, 12 centimeter handle. Okay. It's heavy. It feels great. I knew it would. It just feels great. One finger choil, and the rest, there's a little, palm swell here. I knew it would. I could tell by the handle. That's important to me, how it feels in the hand. Full 4-finger grip, of course. With a knife with this much real estate on the handle, of course you would have that full. It just says 511 with their logo, the 511 Tactical. On this side it says, now I don't know who Blade Tech is, but there's the Mike Vellekamp logo. It says his design. Now you see the Taiwan and the AUS-8, but in the other corner, hope I can get this in here. You see a number, I believe it says 0414 or 4. Like, my eyes are really failing me, people. I'm starting to get worried about them. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's try it this way. Don't grow old. Well, I guess the other option is die young. I think it says, I wrote it down here, 0414. I don't know if that's the model number. I don't know if this is the model number or it's a style. 999-51027. Anyway, this is the 511 Tactical Scout folder. They make one called an Alpha Scout. It is smaller. You know, instead of a 3.6 blade, it's something somewhat smaller. I can't remember the exact size. But I chose to get the full-size one. And I'm telling you, by the way it feels, the heft of that blade, the speed of that deployment, the firmness of that lockup, and look at that centering. I am pleased. All right, everybody. God bless you. Take good care. And stay safe out there. Bye-bye.